You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again today. We have another show lined up for y'all today. We're going to talk to our guest today. She is a digital marketer, and she is all about helping to small businesses. She is Cora Kessler, and today's topic, we're going to talk about making marketing human again. And guess what? Hint, hint is about connecting with people. First and foremost, I want to welcome Cora to the show and say, how you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's really such a joy to be here.
Appreciate that, man. So we're going to talk a lot about everything with marketing, social media, influencers, websites, user experience point of view. But before we do that, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you became the founder of your business, Small Magic Studios.
Yeah, so Small Magic Studios has been my own shop for about a year now, which is kind of crazy to say. But prior to that, I worked my way up to marketing director. A lot of people think that I actually studied marketing undergrad, but I actually studied sociology. So I like to really encourage people when they're in college to not feel limited by getting a degree that is too linked to a career path. Because for me, studying sociology was, that's essentially the study of cultures. And that has been this kernel of knowledge and truth that has been able to really help me understand and be a better marketer. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to making marketing human again, we're connecting people to brands that feel like they have cultural significance to them, and they're creating a community around these brands. So understanding how communities are built has actually been the most useful education for me. And so from my degree, I ended up actually traveling quite a bit and then eventually moving to New York City and working for a small app, which was kind of fun. And then after a while, I started kind of the traditional advertising journey and working for Fortune 500 brands. I started out doing influencer marketing campaigns when influencers were just kind of getting started. So I worked for a YouTube focused agency, finding big time YouTubers that brands like Gillette, Venus, Head and Shoulders, you name it, they would all hire and source and find, and we would help them create the right types of content to really support these brands. And those were interesting international campaigns, some even in Scandinavia for Rimmel makeup, and a number in India, actually. So I'm still in contact with some really wonderful talent over there. And then I also moved very naturally into video production. So the video production piece of it is really much more, on the other side, that's what the influencers were doing. So then I started to support actually creating the YouTube channels for the brands. So I helped to create multiple series for Patron Tequila. And I don't know if you've heard of it. And then, of course, Grey Goose Vodka. So I had a lot of fun on those sets. And really, it's not just about creating the content. It's about making content that people will comment on, that is searchable on YouTube, and all of these different very specialized techniques that you have to think about when you're creating digital media.
Yeah.
So I could go on and on, but I'll let you go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say, I never heard those brands before. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
joking.
they're pretty, I'll send you a link.
Right. Then I'll just Google it. I'm just playing. But no, you work with some major brands. You've been very successful. You also have history with Spain. And what was that like, being able to get out of certain, places that you're used to and exploring new territory?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So, one of the things that I knew I really wanted to do before I launched into my career path was spend some significant time traveling and living in another country. So I actually ended up buying a one-way ticket to Spain after I graduated from college. And I thought I was going to be teaching English to a little boy in the islands, the Balearic Islands, in this place called Mallorca. But it didn't quite work out that way. After being probably with his family for this work exchange program for about 2 weeks, it was pretty clear that they really just wanted me to cook and clean, which I'm honestly not that great at. So I ended up finding another situation. I found a room to rent in their main city there. The family was very gracious and was like, "Yeah, you're right, not quite the right fit." So I was able to just move on. And I think at the end of the day, that's actually the adventure that I really wanted, but was, you can't plan for that kind of adventure. That's the kind of adventure that has to evolve and find you. And I ended up having many different work exchange programs in different parts of Spain where I worked on a yoga retreat in Montefrio outside of Granada. I ended up doing some travel in Granada in southern Spain, and then lived in Madrid for a number of months and actually was an au pair there and had a little like group of friends, an apartment, a life. And all of that really taught me like so quickly after college, being able to do that and not even really speaking Spanish that well, that, if I can figure out how to navigate adulthood in a country where I don't quite speak the language, I think it's going to be okay. And that was something to really hold on to and take into some scary parts of my life, navigating New York and all of that. So it was a helpful lesson to have early on.
Once again, talking to our guest today, Cora Kessler. You go to her website, smallmagicstudios.com, and social media is a tool, and everyone knows that by now, but not everyone is good at that. Marketing is always talked about on people's timeline. Sometimes it's good information, sometimes it's not so good information. You as a business owner, what are some of the trends that you see, or maybe decisions that you see people making with their posts, with their brands, whether they're like a small, because it's usually like a small business problem versus a major brand? What's some of the common mistakes you see with how brands are using social media and using the marketing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think especially for small businesses, people try to do too much too fast. So, really, I always suggest starting with just one to two social media platforms. Sometimes when you're small, you get excited and it's amazing. But it's a lot of resources to put to successfully achieving some clout on, all of the social media platforms. And, that can really take some time away from really focusing on even the why behind, like, why are you posting on social media? I think we lose track of that and we lose sight of the reasoning behind it. A lot of people just post because they think that that's what they're supposed to do, because in this day and age, so many people have Instagram, for example. But what I try to really support my clients in, whether they're a small to mid-sized business, and even big businesses, when I worked with the Fortune 500 companies, let's take a step back and think of who is looking at this post and where do you want them to go? If they're going to look at a post on your Instagram that is related to a product, do you have a link in your bio that's directing them to purchase that product or purchase the class you're selling? Because very often people just will post about something they're selling, but and then they're looking at the number of likes on the post. That the number of likes is not indicating how many people are going to purchase or even sign up for your email list to be notified when that product is available. So really using social media as a tool versus using social media as the outcome. Outcome-based social media is people who just look at it as an indicator of success. I usually get 20 likes on my photos. Now I'm getting 300. That's great. But your sales might not have changed because you didn't add in a website link to create more sales. You didn't add in a link to sign up for a mailing list so people can get notified. Another thing I really stress, especially in this day and age where there's so much destabilization of social media, TikTok is going up and down. In one country, it's accessible. In another country, it's not. We're seeing people losing their Instagram followers and then gaining them back. I still think social media is a very viable tool, but you want to make sure you own the names of the people who are really invested in your product. Whether it's your podcast, often, as regularly as you can, remind people to sign up for your mailing list and give them something back if you can. Give them some kind of free research, free shout out, something that will feel valuable to your unique customer. So those are some things that I really try to remind people of, because I think it's easy to get stuck in the weeds and stay very superficial.
Speaking of that point, it goes back to today's topic, making marketing human again. And we kind of gave a teaser moments ago, but it leads up to this question. When it comes to just trying to attract new viewers and potential customers, clients, what is the secret sauce of connecting with people? Like, are there fundamental skills that people need to learn, or are we overthinking this?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I think that people want to feel heard. Listening is a skill that is slowly dying out, sadly, because there's just so much noise in our society. And it's funny, as I say that, there's a siren going by. I would say when I think of the phrase making marketing human again, I try to humanize any kind of client experience and client interaction. So my whole strategy that makes clients so much more successful is to think about what their clients are looking for at the end of the day. And so speak the language that their clients and users, and speaking to that in a specific way that is also answering their other problems, wanting to look cool and youthful and young and not wear orthopedic shoes. Maybe a silly example, but I think at the end of the day, we all have these really fundamental human challenges that are kind of based in ego and kind of really light and deep and sometimes not so light emotions. So connecting to those emotions and not just the tactics of social media, post 3 times a week, send out your email once a month, all of that kind of thing. And instead just think about, how do you meet people where they are?
And that is probably something we all can start today. Someone listening right now and they're like, you know what? Well, I can practice that. And obviously, first and foremost, they need to go visit your website, smallmagicstudios.com. But before they check out your services, because you have multiple services that we can kind of go over in a minute, but before that, what was something that is very easy to do, but they can start today? I mean, what's a simple thing they can do before they even go to your website that can help their brand?
Right. So before they even go to my website, smallmagicstudios.com, there's definitely a lot that can be done. I think go through, if you already have an existing business, go through any of your existing client interactions and think about, when people say, this was such an amazing experience, thank you for doing this, what was it that really made that experience positive for them? And try to use some of that positive language in your marketing language. Some of those glimmers of success, that's what your future clients are going to want to see, and probably are experiencing those same pain points themselves. Let's say your client says, thank you so much for making my workday easier because you took something off my plate. That's probably what some of your clients your future clients are struggling with and would like to hear. So adding some of that information into your website will be a quick inventory and a quick change.
Man, that's some good stuff right there. I'm writing it down myself right now. And on your website, by the way, talking to Cora Kessler here on Refocus Radio, owner and founder of smallmagicstudios.com. On your website, you have different services. What are the different types of services that you give, and how does it work?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that. So I primarily offer large scale digital marketing plans. So someone can come to me with, I mean, maybe they already have an existing marketing team, but they don't really have someone that's senior enough level to look at the bird's eye view of their business and think, how do we really put these pieces together to get out of our own way? And some of the clients that I've previously worked with, I've actually worked on more of a consultative level to come in probably once a month to every few weeks to guide their existing marketing teams to that endpoint goal. And then maybe they'll call me every 6 months once they feel like they've achieved their first goal. And part of the marketing plan is also about a 50 to 80 page deliverable, about a PowerPoint presentation, something like that, that really shows best practices for a number of areas of their specific niche and a competitive analysis. So that's basically looking at, let's say you have a business that sells hot sauce. And so then I would research different types of hot sauce, both in the area and in the other spaces that they sell in, to see, well, why are these other groups outperforming you? And, even in terms of search, what's coming up in search that's winning over the group that I'm actually doing the work for. So it's a very comprehensive tool, and people will use it for years and years to come. So it will continue to be rewarding for the clients. Additionally, I provide regular strategy sessions. So that's something that's more of like an hour here, hour there. If someone just knows that they want to refresh their perspective, they can just call me for that. And I also do packages of that. If someone wants to do kind of a regular, let's chat like once a month or every 2 weeks, something like that, I'm available for clients to get unstuck. That's kind of what I consider it. And then with the marketing plan, if they don't have a marketing team to execute, let's say if I recommend redoing their website, giving their social media facelift, if that's all part of their marketing plan and if they don't have the resources to do that, I have different partners in my team who can help with that.
And you said it with your website, Small Magic Studios, you are helping people who are having that symptom of being stuck. Now, speaking of that, we all know what that feels like. It's a horrible feeling. It's a feeling where you're fearful, you're worried, and until they go to visit you and get your services, they're probably gonna be feeling fearful for a while. What are some of the common threads, if you will, that you notice that your clients have been able to see the light come on for their business as far as branding and marketing, where it's like, wow, I get it now?
Yeah. I think it's one thing that comes to mind is my strategy for working with clients is always customer first. So when I say that, I think of it's similar to thinking about user experience. Basically, that is the user of their product. So let's say whoever is purchasing this hot sauce, for example, what is their experience when they go to the client's social media? What are they actually seeing? Or when they go to their website, what are they taking in, and what questions would they have that my client, the business owner, would just glaze over because they're so used to that information? The reason that it's so helpful to work with someone like me or a different type of coach is because I'm seeing things through a different set of eyes. When you're too close to something, you need a second CEO-like person to say, hey, I didn't think of that. I'm looking at this day in and day out, and I thought all the questions were answered, but it's just my questions were answered, not the questions of someone who needs things broken down to a granular level. And that's when the light really goes on for people. Oh, I didn't realize someone would ask such a basic question because I've already made the hot sauce recipe and I'm thinking about distribution models at this point, you know?
Right.
So that's really where it gets ignited, I think.
And goes back to the point that we're talking about, making marketing human again. I mean, that should be on a hat, no joke. But that'll be a cool hat to wear. Imagine people wearing that all around the world, making marketing human again. When people are connecting with people, some people are better than others. When you're dealing with a client who might be like an introvert or just simply doesn't have the skill set to network, if you will, how do you deal with that challenge, and what was some of the strategies to overcome that?
Yeah, well, I think that not every business requires tremendous networking. I think that there are a lot of businesses that can be successful by running ads or posting a number of pictures of their product first. And it can be a challenge as a small business owner to not be comfortable putting yourself out there. I do think that in general, it's important to develop those skills and just push through some of those hurdles. I definitely would say it's an important skill to slowly work through. I don't think that it's impossible. As long as your product is strong and you're talking to the right people. So let's say you don't have such an extreme case of social anxiety, for example, that you're not able to talk to the gatekeepers. So when I say that, I mean, let's go back to the hot sauce example. If you're selling a hot sauce, you can talk to the manager, the store manager at a local gift shop. You can talk to the manager at your local Whole Foods and be named in the local section. Some little things like that where you're still relatively behind the scenes. You're not giving a speech. You're maybe not doing an Instagram live, stuff like that. But you're comfortable doing a few like handshakes here and there. That is really important. And I would say even knowing that level of communication can be tough, I would say I often just put something as your push goal. And it's important to recognize maybe I'm never going to be this flashy, have my own, game show kind of level vibe of entrepreneur, where some people are just so out there and they have their own charisma and persona. But I think being the type of person that is so committed to their business that they maybe let's say they even have an Excel sheet where 5 days out of the week, they're going to commit to reaching out to at least one person and just check that off. That is the type of commitment to their business that will make them successful, even if it's hard. And that is where I think the needle will continue to move.
Once again, listen to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, Cora Kessler. And you can visit her website. It's real easy. Remember, smallmagicstudios.com. We are discussing making marketing human again. Hence, it's about connecting with people. When you have worked with people, your clients, what is the most common mistake as far as how they think about marketing? What's some of the misunderstandings that shows up when they first are in the beginning process of working with you?
Yeah, I would say the first mistake, but this will be kind of almost a joke, but some people really don't believe that they need marketing. Some people think, my product is great. I don't need to invest in this. Only people who really have bad products need to invest in marketing. And I think, unfortunately, or fortunately for me, that is not the way the world works. Everyone kind of needs to compete for a soundbite and some space on the internet. So that is a part of the way the game is played now. Um, and I do so that is a mistake. I think if you have a product that's amazing, you should definitely invest in marketing because you don't want the world to miss out on that product. And I personally love working with products that are amazing. So innovative products are kind of my specialty. Um, I would say another mistake I see people make is really getting too hyper focused in one or two areas. Part of the small business niche is, obviously I'm working with a number of founders. And I don't know if you've heard the idea of founder syndrome, where sometimes people get so absorbed in what they've created, which is a beautiful thing, they kind of can't really let go or let it evolve. So sometimes that can create some blockages in even letting a very small, innocuous post on LinkedIn just go ahead and fly free. Every little thing for some founders needs to be approved to the last degree, and that becomes a huge time suck. And it's not the right priority for them. It's not where their time should be going. And I guess the last thing I would say is, in the line of being visionary, is I think sometimes these really wonderful visionary thinkers can actually almost have too many ideas to the point where they're not able to prioritize and bring their energy in to focus on a larger game plan. And I think that is really where that's my sweet spot sometimes, where I've definitely seen with a few clients, they've really excelled with me because they have these beautiful ideas, they have huge potential. And instead of spreading themselves so thin across 10 or 12 different plans, they're able to really focus in successfully on one or two and know that those other plans that they care about very deeply will come in the next 3-6 months once they have succeeded with their first two.
Once again, talking to our guest today, Cora Kessler. Go to her website, smallmagicstudios.com. And man, learned a lot on the show today about marketing, but also making it human again and connecting with people. Last question I ask is, our listeners, when they visit your website and they set up an appointment with you, what's the magic that they can expect after a few appointments with your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I mean, I think being reinvigorated, that's the magic. It's being reinvigorated, re-inspired, and realizing that there's another way forward possible that maybe you didn't expect.
Awesome. Well, once again, you can go visit our website. It's real simple. Remember, smallmagicstudios.com, and call to action, just connect, man. Like, check out the services. He has different services. You have a call. They can book a call with you. When it's all said and done, it's simple, man. Your brand, your magic, it belongs here. I kind of stole that from your website, but that's what it's all about, especially being an entrepreneur. I think everyone gets excited about the thought of being visionary. But like you said throughout the interview, it's a process of tuning things up and working what you need to work in order for people to find it. Because if you're not using marketing, you're a ghost in today's world. So want to say thanks, Cora Kessler, being on the show today. Anything that you would like to say to our audience before we check out?
Thank you for having me. This has been a wonderful experience. I just really hope to hear from anyone from this show. I think it's been a wonderful time. And you can obviously, like you said, book a call, free 15-minute strategy session with me. And I'm also actively growing my email list, and it's not boring emails, it's exciting magic. I have a little bit of a spiritual side to me, so that's a little bit of a part of what I'm also infusing into my business. So stay tuned for that.
You also have a pretty cool email address. It's hi. I love that, because other emails is always admin like mine, or it would be staff or whatever, but yours is hi at smallmagicstudios.com. That's pretty clever. And you also are on social media, Instagram, TikTok. I used to be on TikTok, and I had to delete all my comedy videos because I was embarrassed myself, so I had to rebrand. But yeah, if you need some marketing done, need some help in getting your brand to life and find some magic, go to Cora's website. Is smallmagicstudios.com. Once again, I say thank you for taking time in your busy schedule to talk to Refocus Radio today.
Thank you so much.